He can do it. He can do it all with the Nautilus as well. And in general, if you're going to 1-2, I expect usually a Kaisa Nautilus, something like that, that's just so damn impactful in team fights that we, I think I've seen great things from Raes in Destiny in the past.
Well, we got the Lee Sin locked in here for Evil Genius's powerful 3-role flex pick.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I always look for teams to go for early on in the draft, especially if it's a triple flex. Get these picks in there that are going to be A tier, S tier, depending on where you put them, and have so many different places that your opponents are left guessing constantly. I like to see that early on here, but it does leave the Varus open, and Immortals are quick to swoop that one up, also grabbing the Nocturne.
Yeah, the Nocturne's going to be interesting. I want to see where that ends up going. Xerxe has been playing it in the past, so that's a real flex where you have to really give it respect. Viego's being hovered, but to the Lee Sin point, like, Svenskeren is a sick Lee Sin player. So a lot of the times, in a lot of these teams, you expect that, okay, it's really going to be a flex between top and mid lane because that's not a Lee Sin player. Svenskeren has made his name off that when he, back in the days, the TSM Svenskeren, right? So, especially with the jungle changes, camps moving back 15 seconds, and also the you don't have to be full clearing because you actually, the comeback experience is just so damn good. So want to see where that ends up going as the Akali gets locked in. Nice.
Okay, picking up the Akali nice and early here. Now remember that Nocturne is also technically a 3-way flex, although you don't see him too super often in mid. Sorry, VODS. But the Ezreal versus the Varus, what you were predicting here with the AD carry matchup.
Yeah.
We know that Ezreal's kind of on top of the world right now with the new Divine Sunder buffs. The champions just loving building that in combination with the Muramana. Super effective itemization for him. And now that Viego that was hovered by Evil Geniuses locked in for Immortals.
And we get to see where it goes later on. But to the point about the Ezreal, it actually must have been an amazing thing for Evil Geniuses to have the Ezreal be so good at this time. Because Ignar wants to leave that lane. And Ezreal is just such a safe support. He can farm alone. We've seen multiple times if you have that Ezreal bot side, he's going to scale. He's going to do you good mid later on in the game. But now Ignar can choose his times. When he's basing, go straight mid, help out Jiizuke, that I'm expecting he's going to be the one with the Akali. Or he can go top side, as we've seen in the past, help out Impact. I'm expecting that to be, you know, Lee Sin Impact. Either way, I think it works really well for them. I want to see what they can do in the 4-5.
Okay, so with the bans coming through, Nautilus is off the table. Evil Genius is still waiting, using all the time here to think about what they're going to be banning. They know that their opponents have the AD carry. They know that Viego and Nocturne are going to be flexed around mid, jungle, top somewhere. So going after the Gragas here, another powerful flex pick taken out.
Might see a Leona ban here from IMT because IMT's recognizing, rightfully so, EG doesn't have much ways to start a fight in their composition. Lee Sin, fine. But if you have an Ezreal, there are only a few supports that really vibe with him in the bot side of the map. So there it is.
There he calls it.
There we go.
He calls it.
Leona is a great ban here. But now I got to wonder what IMT is going for. Varus does do okay with a Lulu pick, but you don't want to just outright blind it for. Alistar is available, and Destiny is actually a great Alistar historically. So if there's ever going to be a moment to pick it, especially with an AD carry that is just naturally as strong as he is, and also buys a lot of time in team fights for Akali.
Yeah.
Okay, it might just be locking in the Lulu.
Lulu. There it is. How are we feeling about this one?
Lulu's interesting. So also a flex pick, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a Lulu Varus bot lane. And if it's just an on-hit Varus, we have not seen an on-hit Varus, and I don't remember, actually. I don't remember catching one. But this would be it. You know, a lot of DPS, Ardent Sensor backing him. It would be a good opportunity for it. And you actually have the Viego that if he just survives in a team fight, if he has the tank items, we didn't see that from Jensen in the previous game, but if you have tank items and then that ultimate from the Lulu, team fight's going to be really strong for them.
Zhao locked in. I love seeing this champion, especially after the changes they made that allow him to have better skill expression with Wind Becomes Lightning, giving him greater range on the Audacious Charge. He's active in the early game. This is not a champion that you cycle camp timers on. If you're doing that, why did you pick him? That means we are going to get blood early on in this game, and I am loving it. The final pick of the draft for Evil Geniuses, the Alistar in support.
It's the Ignar Alistar. I was expecting that to be a Destiny Alistar, but especially with all these supports being banned, you know, pick up Ali, get out of lane, make action happen with the Zhao.
Yeah.
It's definitely, they woke up in the morning and chose violence.
Give me some of that helicopter gameplay. Give me leave the lane at level 2. Give me some Season 1 support roaming around with the jungler. Of course, you ain't going to have a Philo Stone or an Oracle's Elixir or anything like that, but I still like to see the violence. Final pick of the draft for Immortals will be an Orianna, so that means we'll probably see Viego up there in the top lane with Revenge piloting that one. Nocturne in the jungle for Xerxe, pretty on the Orianna here for his his LCS game. And that Lulu, man, Lulu can keep Varus or Orianna alive, or if this Immortals team is super far ahead, just slap a wild growth on Viego or Nocturne when they dive in, and that is scary stuff.
It is scary. They do need to be ahead, though. That's one of those things where if you're in these competitions and you're not ahead early, you go into the later portions of the game, you're walking into the Alistar or the Lee Sin, the Zhao without vision.
Yeah.
You don't really have any ways. You're really only having the Varus to start your fights, and everyone else squishy as all hell.
Yeah.
So, like, it's going to be Immortals really banking on that early game. Sure, Orianna and Nocturne is a hell of a combination, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be on them. They can convert their early games lead really well late game team fights, but it's going to be on IMT to try and reel this game in their favor first 10 minutes.
And I am so excited to see if they can keep this win streak going. But hey, for Evil Geniuses, it's all about breaking that lose streak, right? 3-0 versus 0-3. Opposite fates in week number 1. Will week number 2 tell the same tale? Just about to jump into the game now. Really excited to see this mid lane matchup, especially because, you know, we talked about both the mid laners. I said I wanted to see a lot of improvement from Jiizuke, especially around his mid to late game decision making. You're excited about Pretty based on what you've seen from him over in his time in Europe and those situations. And not only are we getting to see this matchup between these two, we're getting to see it with a Lee Sin mid for Jiizuke, which has so much heaven or hell potential, man. This one can go straight to a dub or straight to an in.
Hell yeah. I love that. At least, you know, from a fan's perspective. You get to see those moments. He's a hell of a playmaker. Yeah. Another thing that people are going to love is the fact that Impact's on a carry in the top lane in the Akali. Because every conversation back in the TL days or whatnot, it's been get Impact on a carry. He's just so damn good. He's a rock for sure your team. He's great in team fights, but, you know, we've always heralded him as a top laner in our league, and we just want that added flexibility with that team if they feel comfortable around playing away from the bot lane. This is a good, you know, barometer to see how he works in that setting.
Okay, so taking a look here. Also letting y'all know your free pro view matchup for this game is at the support role with Ignar versus Destiny. If you want to see how to play an engage support against an enchanter, or maybe you're on the other side of the coin, an enchanter versus an engage, go ahead and check that one out. See how the pros do it, see how you can do it the next time you're playing support there in solo queue. But looking at where the teams are going to start, it is a red buff start here for Evil Geniuses and Svenskeren. Meanwhile, their opponents on Immortals are going to be doing a red side start of their own, which means our junglers will be pathing towards opposite ends of the map.
All right, so that's going to be a lot of just, you know, passive gameplay, I would imagine. Both junglers not going to be interacting, and then both side laners should recognize that they, you know, get your wave in early. Just don't be in a range for a gank. That's going to hurt Svenskeren a little bit, because if Svenskeren's pathing towards that top side to get anything off of Viego or off of the mid lane on the Orianna pick, you're not going to be able to do anything as long as they're playing, you know, a disciplined game. I think the only concern would be Pretty. You know, Pretty on the Orianna. A lot of the times, especially if there's a Lee Sin and a Zhao that's aiming for a gank on towards you. And if you don't have that jungler with you, knowing, let's say if they're on Gromp, but you really need to get that wave in, you're in a pretty bad spot. And we've seen that multiple times so far in this split, where that's just prime for a gank.
Down here in the bottom lane, it's Raes and Destiny hitting the level 2 first. Raes goes for the piercing arrow there. Notice that he does have lethal tempo here on the Varus, so if those trades go extended, he will have the power to get a lot of extra attacks in. Revenge stepping down, throwing a ward in the enemy jungle, keeping an eye on the blue buff. We'll see that it's still there.
It's been a consistent thing. You know, Revenge is going to try his hardest to forget the last Viego game that he had. Of course, it was a big win for the team, but he's getting hurt a lot of ganks sent his way, you know, a lot of punishment there. I think this is going to be a better situation for him. He's definitely going to have the jungler pathing away from him, but now having that vision of when Svenskeren does get on blue, he sees him now, then great. You know, if you're going to get your wave in, exactly, get that in, just be in a safe spot.
I love how many junglers are also now taking advantage of the blue buff plus Gromp clear at the same time. Because you've got so much health regeneration in the jungle. You can see Svenskeren's doing it. You saw Xerxe doing the same thing. As long as you know how to properly manage the patience. That frog almost ran out of patience, but just enough left means Svenskeren can clear this out and just shave a couple seconds off the clear.
That's the thrill of the jungle. That thing, for me, that's anxiety incarnate. When you're in that situation and it's just so close to ruining your entire clear. Oh no! But of course, the professionals out here, they ain't gonna do that. But for me, I am rather not take that risk.
That's the thrill of the hunt, though, man. You
True.
got to be ready to go. Now, let's see if we're going to get into any action here around this level 4 point. You can see Jiizuke continuing to land these Sonic Waves onto Pretty. Now, both of them about half HP, but the nice part for Jiizuke is he can't run out of mana. Pretty is completely exhausted in that element, as Impact has the wave shoved up here on the top side. Revenge just farming up underneath the turret, misses a little bit of the farm there, but mostly still even up here and down in the bottom lane. The only real farm difference we're seeing is in that mid lane, with Jiizuke having about a 1-wave lead as Xerxe heads back towards the top side. He'll farm up the Krugs, and we'll see if he tries to go for a play, too.
Yeah, I would say the only thing that... Oh, wait a minute. You're getting a little bit of damage here.
A little bit spicy.
The only thing to look forward to, for me at the very least, is I think IMT is set up here to look for a bot lane dragon play. Camps are going to be spawning slowly. Oh, my God. Unless the Revenge puts himself in dive range, then Xerxe might have to protect him on this wave.
Okay. Yeah, Xerxe is going to have to head over there, I do believe. As down here in the bottom lane, we got the 2v2 breaking out with Danny under a lot of pressure. Raes going forward with a piercing arrow, point blank range, but it's Raes who's first blooded and is traded 1-for-1 with Destiny picking up the follow-up kill. But Jiizuke has teleported into the bot lane now. Svenskeren's coming over to cut him off. There is no escape for a poor little Lulu, my friends, and the kill goes over to the mid laner.
There it is! Action starting up early, and it's right to Danny and Ignar picking up those. So, in the end of it, both AD carries not being able to get the kills, but I thought that it was looking great from Danny and Ignar, and also Jiizuke coming in to get the kill himself. So he's going to be the big benefitter off of that one.
Oh, yes. He's got himself that extra bit of money. Let's see how it started off here, because it was looking a bit scary for Danny.
Yeah, you know, straight flashing in towards him. Great exhaust timing coming in there, but it was just so close. Man, at least Destiny was able to finish it off of his own flash, but now they're going to be coming back into lane without summoners, so that's the concern that I'm going to be having off that one. Svenskeren also, of course, that close to being able to get the assist himself.
Yeah.
Not going to be there, but... So yeah, this is what I was talking about before the play ended up happening. You know, Nocturne was pathing top to bot side, so he was aiming for the dragon. So that's what I think this game is going to be about. IMT's put themselves in a position, especially with the Enchanter support, to try and get priority bot lane, and then try to play through bot to stack dragons. EG has to recognize that, try and get an advantage going early, at least for Impact, trading top side. Riftshell's going to be coming up, so that's going to be the major, you know, point in that subject. And then try and turn that into just raw team fighting power.
Yeah. And you can see Impact going for some extra lane power here with a Seeker's Arm Guard. This item, of course, has been nerfed a while ago, so it's not just that thing that instantly allows you to win your lane matchup anymore. But when you're up against two heavy AD threats in your lane opponent and the jungler like Viego and Nocturne, it still feels really good to make sure that you're always staying on top of your game there. And he does have about a 10 farm lead as he'll look to crash that wave into the turret once more. Revenge will be able to make up a lot of that CS difference right here, and Xerxe is ready to shadow this just to make sure. Impact stepping forward now to challenge him for those Krugs. Svenskeren in the enemy jungle, stealing away this red buff. Evil Genius is moving in as a 3-man unit to guarantee this steal.
This is the second time, every time the Krugs has gone up, they've been on top of Xerxe.
They're ready to go. Xerxe with a spell shield and the wind becomes lightning, but now that's no longer available. They don't want to chase any further. They're just going to allow Svenskeren to finish off this camp. Revenge still hanging around. A little bit of health missing from both junglers, but it looks like Evil Geniuses do not want to push their luck here on this one.
But that's just another instance, and now that's going to be one camp up here for Svenskeren. Just because they're on top of it. Last time around when the Krug camp was spawning, Impact got the ward on them, knew that Nocturne was on top side, so they had the timer until the next rotation of the camp. Instantly there for him. Gonna be looking for a gank mid.
Okay, we'll see if that turns into much more, but it does not. Pretty with the flash. Loses the summoner spell, but stays perfectly safe. Still has the entire health bar to work with. Also with his own jungler right over the wall. Nocturne having the paranoia. Very easy to join in on that. So Evil Geniuses don't want to push any further there.
Absolutely. And it's not similar to the last time pre-base that Pretty had. Now has mana underneath them, so can follow up with a Nocturne ultimate. Try and pick off Zhao. This game has been, you know, it's been a quiet one, but overall I think it's been working out well for IMT, being able to try and stack up Dragon. That next one's going to be coming in 2 minutes time. While EG, I think it's just been getting a slower advantage there for Svenskeren. And also been supporting Impact whenever the wave is crashing up topside. Svenskeren has been there, has been able to support them, and has been pulling the Viego at those times, so it's actually kind of amounted to a small advantage there CS-wise.
Yeah, we got about a one-wave lead here for Impact as he and Revenge. This is also such a spicy top lane matchup because both of these champions can completely annihilate a team fight if they're ahead, right? But if they're behind, both of these champions are really good at giving 300 gold to the enemy team. So whichever one of these two can get that lead is going to be nice, but down here in the bottom lane, we're looking for plays yet again. Raes grabbing the kill, and goodbye, Danny. Ignar survives with the ulti, but with the Ezreal in the dirt, Immortals picks up a kill, 1 for nothing. Talking about this current state of the game, feeling good for Immortals. They just got this kill. We're back into the game now. The gold is just about even. With them already having the first Drake, they would love to get that second one. So Raes, what I asked for you here, what's the plan for EG to counter that?
Well, thankfully they're making my job easy. Going straight forward the Rift Herald. And that's what they're going to use to try and fight for Dragon. I think this Dragon's going to be a pretty contested one because EG does have an answer. They're just going to flop that straight. I think they would plop it mid, but they can use it to get a Akali an advantage. It really is up in the air at how they want to do it, but I don't think they want to drop it now just because Zhao does have camps that he should go through.
Yeah.
You know, clear out his full top side, bot side, and then I think by that point you're already going to be contesting for Dragon. Just so everybody could see this one, yep, the Varus ultimate landed. He'd already used his blink to get out of there, and of course, the Lantern blinked away from it. Happens, you know, get those moments. Ends up getting a free kill there now for IMT. But to the point is, once you clear out your full path, then you're going to be there for the Dragon anyway. So throw that Rift Herald, throw that bad boy mid lane, and see if you can get control a Dragon that way. I
really like the spell shield from Xerxe there too. It just makes it so hard for Alistar to be able to run any sort of interference. Even if he uses the Pulverize, what's going to happen?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
It's a real difficult situation to navigate, but it is still about a 1,000 gold lead here for the side of Evil Geniuses. Under 30 seconds until that Drake spawns, and as we're getting close, Impact's going in for the trade here. Revenge will walk away while the smoke cloud persists.
I'm not a fan of that.
I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan of that. I mean, maybe that's just them saying that they're not going for Dragon here, but if you're contesting for Dragon, both top laners have TP. Not having that ultimate's going to be impactful.
Very true, but losing your mid laner could be even more so. Pretty getting himself away in time. Shockwave to bring Jiizuke right on back there, but Xerxe's not close enough to follow up. Does not want to jump in there with a paranoia that quickly. So we've got ourselves an Orianna ultimate used now, an Akali ultimate used now. So each side down a pretty big team fight ulti, and the Dragon is alive. Xerxe throws out a Dustbringer, but then immediately backs away. They don't know where enough people on Evil Geniuses are, and they don't want to overcommit.
Yeah, pretty sad that that Orianna ultimate was used at that point because there isn't going to be any follow-up, not going to have that much damage just because you do have just straight utility in the Ionian boots and straight mana. So what are you actually expecting there?
Hey, we got a Dark Seal. That is the only thing in Pretty's inventory that will actually contribute to damage because Ionian boots, tier, blue rock, cookie, and
the blue rock
bottle of drink. That's what we got. There's not a whole lot there that is making somebody shake in their boots.
Those ultimates are going to be back if this is prolonged. No team wants to be the one starting off the objective first and then being team fought because this Dragon does a lot of damage. In fact, actually, EG is just not going to be in position for this.
Nope.
There it is.
Should just be a free pickup there for the side of Immortals, and there we go. They've got the first 2 Drakes, and it will be a Mountain Soul here this time around.
There we have it. Svenskeren didn't want to use Rift Herald for that one, and also Raes and Destiny played it safe, used that bot lane pressure first, got pushed out, made it so Ezreal, if he wanted to participate, he wasn't going to be there for it. He was at least going to lose minions at that point. So. Oh, Revenge has to get out of there.
Yeah, Revenge, this is not a fight that you can really stand and do much about. Yes, 2 of the medium-sized Krugs will survive, and remember, that's not as punishing as it used to be where the big Krug was worth most of the camp. There's a lot of gold in the baby ones now, so Revenge can still salvage a little under half of the gold value of that camp, so it's not too bad, but still don't like seeing him just be able to walk in and take everything.
That's the thing, though. This is constant where Viego, Revenge is just getting the treatment of Svenskeren putting up a camp there.
Yeah.
Big wave coming in. Has to back away because if he commits underneath his turret, then he's in a dive range. So recognizes that he's just playing weak side for the early portions of this game, but is very close to being able to get shield bow. So like once he hits that, he's going to be in a pretty comfortable space.
Yeah, you're feeling a lot better when you have that extra shield that makes it so diving you is a very scary proposition, especially on a champion that has an ulti that gives him that quick iframe that lets him drop the aggro and really go for a big outplay.
Ooh, here we go. But Pretty is just going to be safe here. Of course, has his flash back up. They're going to lose. Actually, they might be in a position to lose this full turret, but doesn't have a minion wave off this.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
nice.
they're not going to back this up.
That actually ended up being 3 plates because it does just more than 2 plates worth of damage, but it had just more than 2 plates worth of health. So very nice usage of that. Right as we're about to have the plates go down, they needed to summon it up then and pretty much no later if they wanted to guarantee that money.
And they also stuck Ezreal straight in the mid lane, which is going to help out Alistar a little bit more of working with Svenskeren.
Got the Chains of Corruption, but without the Nocturne there to follow it up. Jiizuke's not in any real danger here, still at about 80% of his HP, and Raes now without that ulti. Let's see if Evil Geniuses can punish here. Ignar might just be ready to go in. He's got the flash. Flash pulverized into a headbutt is a death sentence here for either one of these two.
But yeah, Destiny and Raes recognize this, playing so safe here, knowing that they don't have mid push. And every time Danny's going to be able to push this wave out, he's going to be there with Ignar and Svenskeren to help a brother out. So I love this right now, having Ezreal put mid lane this early in the game, because now Alistar can do exactly what we were saying they should do in the draft in working with that Zhao and getting action happening. So now you got that added opportunity to contest vision that IMT's placed down bot side.
We still have ourselves a growing gold lead for Evil Geniuses. It is slow growing, but it is there. Revenge once again will be shoved away from the wave. Impact continuing to win the short trades, but hey, it's Viego. There's a lot of sustain built into the champion.
I've got a question for you.
What do you got, buddy?
Are you on Team Kraken or Gale Force for Raes?
I always value Gale Force very highly on champions that don't have a dash built into the kit because it feels like it makes up for one of the designed weaknesses of the character.
Yeah.
So I generally prefer to see Gale Force in something like that. I haven't played AD carry since Season 3, so I might be completely wrong.
I would be on the same court in terms of the Gale Force in this game, because if I'm looking at the threats of Lee Sin, Akali, Zhao, I mean, they're literally trying to kill you.
Yeah.
All 4 of them, including the Alistar. So going to try their hardest. This tower should go down.
Yeah, that tower's not getting a whole lot done. Jiizuke tries to go in here for the kick, but instead, what is he doing? That was the Grubhub play of the game right there. Delivered straight to your door, as now the punish turns into a double kill for the AD carry, and Immortals just pick up the wallet.
Man, that was a major mistake. They thought they saw an opportunity to get a pick there, but yeah. Jiizuke, ripe for the pickings. 2 dead off that one play. Dragon's going to be coming up in 1 minute, but that's a huge reward for IMT.
That was not what Evil Geniuses wanted to see, man. It was just the Lulu.
Yeah.
That's just the support they're going in on, as Immortals now with a 5v4 here on the map as the respawns are coming out for Evil Geniuses. Rift Herald's going to be secured with the team fight coming out. You've got Svenskeren staying alive there with the power of the Zhao ulti. Immortals looking to get away, but Jiizuke's able to jump in. Revenge the first one dead. It's already 2 dead bodies on the side of Immortals, about to make it 3. Jiizuke redeeming himself a little bit here as Evil Geniuses jump back into the kill and gold lead.
Action, right back for that Rift Herald play. They knew they could take the fight. I thought it was a bit of a risk because Danny wasn't there for the fight, actually. His contribution was a 4-man ultimate, but they're looking for Pretty.
Oh, Pretty sticking around in the top lane too long, and Evil Geniuses find the punish. They give the gold over to Impact, and things are looking all right. 3,500 gold ahead for the Geniuses.
All right. It was just EG looking ahead off of one mistake, saying, you know what? Jiizuke's like, I may be dead, but at least I have TP, and I can still be participating for the next play. Go straight in. Great Lulu ultimate from Destiny to cancel that out. Any aspirations of him trying to dash behind him, not going to happen.
Not working.
Yeah, so all of this was great. I think the only thing I would look back on and say, yeah, Xerxe didn't have mana, so looking towards a Rift Herald at this stage didn't make too much sense. And of course the flank was just that strong. They didn't expect that minion, or at least the ward, being behind the pit. And also, Impact put in a lot of work in this one.
Yes. Very good stuff there from Evil Geniuses responding. They get punished for a bad play, but then they punish their opponents right after even harder for a worse play.
Fact.
Sometimes that's all you got to do. You don't have to play a perfect game of League of Legends to win a game of League of Legends. You just got to play better than the other guys. And right there, that's what Evil Geniuses did. They made the less impactful mistake.
I think he was on IMT at this point, but Rainover once said, mistakes are opportunities, and
that's true.
They found some great opportunities.
Yeah, we got an opportunity to make a play on the pretty here at the bottom lane, and they get it done. Jiizuke picking up the money, and revenge is there. Too little, too late. Evil Genius is now up 3 kills.
All right, this is now a pretty large lead for Evil Geniuses. Gold-wise, comp-wise, I think there's a lot of playmaking that Jiizuke is putting down, but also going back to the beginning of the game when we were talking about impact on a carry, this man is fed.
Yes, this is a scary dude. Both of them are scary. Solo laners from Evil Geniuses, 3-0-1, 3-1-2. Looking at the farm, they are both up compared to their lane opponents. We've got the mythic items up on both of them. Jiizuke and Impact should be able to have a huge impact for the rest of this game.
So if you're in your Twitter or Reddit argument with somebody and someone's telling you the Impact can't play these carries, here's your evidence. I've saved this game from, I don't know if it's 2 years later, but here's a fight now.
Oh boy, looking for the kill onto the enemy jungler here with a lot of backup coming in. He's buying as much time as he can, but Svenskeren will fall. Xerxe takes the kill, and Immortals will grab the punish.
All right, that's going to buy them some time. There's not much they can get off of this, unfortunately. Impact's also making work get done topside, but it is very much a valuable kill that they're able to get on the jungler at this stage of the game.
Okay, Immortals trying to stabilize a little bit here, but man, nearly 5,000 gold. Not even 20 minutes into the game. Their soul stack has been stopped.
Yep.
Things are looking a bit shaky for Immortals here in this first game of week 2, Raes.
There it is. We were just waiting on them to get challenged, right? And
yeah.
There was always that asterisk of, well, they've had monstrously better compositions in the first 3 games of the split. So when they're in an even state, or even, in a worse state, I think this is just good drafting from both teams.
Okay.
How do they fare then? And also, of course, there's always going to be the asterisk of Pretty's coming in, not having the best game here, but he's definitely not been a part of their system for a long time. He's just there for this one game, and it's been a tough one for sure with how much pressure Svenskeren and Jiizuke have been piling onto that lane.
True. And this is kind of going back to what the desk was talking about too, saying, look, Evil Geniuses built the leads up in 3 games. Yes, they threw those leads in 3 games, but you're saying you don't expect them to continue building those leads and throwing them for the entirety of the split. Eventually, the leads get translated into wins, and right now, I'm not trying to jinx it, Evil Genius fans, I promise.
Sounds like you're doing it.
Right now, it's looking pretty good for them.
Right now?
Right now, I have to put that there, man. After week number 1, I have to put that there. Otherwise, I'm going to get memed on later when people say, yeah, but they threw. We got to be careful. We got to be careful.
And true. You know what?
I'm giving myself the escape route here.
Hearing from the coaches of Evil Geniuses, they've said some good things in terms of like, well, they're, paraphrasing. They don't want to defang what is already, what these players are known for.
Yeah.
Jiizuke is a spectacular playmaker.
Yeah.
Encourage those plays, but also like, when those moments happen, make it so it's like it's intentional, that these plays make sense when it happens.
Yeah. So
I love the fact that they're getting these leads, and it's happening in typical EG fashion, but you're right, later on in the game, let's tone it down, play a more safe game. I think so far it's looking good.
Mm-hmm. What we're looking at for Evil Geniuses now is the ability to close, right? We've built the lead. We've seen the 5,000 gold advantage 20 minutes into the game. That is a lot.
Yep.
So now we just need to see it go all the way. And we've got 45 or so seconds until that next Drake is alive. Remember, the score on those is still 1-2 with Immortals having the lead there. But Evil Geniuses, with such a commanding lead right now, you would think they are very comfortable taking a fight in open ground.
100%. Xerxe Gage being built up here from the Lee Sin. He's now he's at full build.
He's so tanky.
He's full
so
build.
tanky, man.
So he's going to be having a lot of time to stick within the fights, make Raes' life a lot harder. And he's going to be cognizant of what Lulu can do since the last play. Now, recognize that.
It's one of those things. Look, deny me once, shame on you. Deny me twice, I should stop taking these cues.
Exactly.
Like, it's just the way it works.
Another thing is, just looking at IMT's perspective, the Phantom Dancer being picked up from Raes, so at least he has 2 items. He can be competitive. And he has the armor boost. So he's going to be working. There's a lot of that happening from Evil Genius' side. Lee Sin, Zhao, Ezreal. So it makes sense.
And we're seeing the same builds come out from both the Lee Sin and the Zhao. The power of Gore Drinker together with Sterax gives you an incredible amount of, I guess I'll call it artificial survivability, because it's not your health and it's not your resistances. It's the shield and the healing and all these temporary things that really add up a lot in the middle of a hectic team fight against 5 other players at the same time. So we'll have that second Drake go over to Evil Geniuses now, so tied up 2-2.
This is pretty dangerous here from Pretty. He is so far up. Yeah, this is exactly. They're going to look for a play on top of him.
TP's coming in. Pretty's trying to teleport out. Jiizuke's ready to go in and try to interrupt, and he will be there in time. Pretty will fall for the 3rd time this game, most assuredly. He tries to get away. He's still got his flash, but there'd just be no point in trying to use it. Immortals has everybody ready to go. Pretty's going to try to be an alcove gamer, but there's just nowhere to game. Yeah, he dodges the Q, but both these guys are still ready to go when Jiizuke's on a killing spree.
And that's the thing. If you are on side lane duty, you have to be ultra aware of what's happening mid lane. That's where your focus should be. Because if your team's losing pressure around mid lane, and never be past River at that point, because they're just going to go straight for you. Great teleport to be able to catch him off. And now no Orianna for 20 seconds. Baron being started from EG.
Baron is the call. They dare their opponents to come and try to stop it. Turret has been destroyed in the bottom lane, but that means there's only 3 players from Immortals here on the top side of the map. Nocturne ulti used there just to try to drop the aggro a little bit. Baron at about 5,000 HP. Xerxe below half, so the steal would be very difficult. Impact and Ignar doing a great job zoning away the Immortals players, not allowing this to be a coin flip Baron. But with Impact going right back into the pit, it's Baron over to Evil Geniuses. Give him a kill on the side. EG is looking good.
A snap judgment moment. Get the Baron and go straight in. That was beautiful from Ignar. It's a treat to be able to watch his Alistar plays go through, and I love the fact that we get to see it.
Okay, man, Evil Genius is turning things on here in week number 2. Now with a 6,000 gold lead, now with a Baron buff here for the next 2.5 minutes. This team is poised to wreck some objectives on the side of Immortals.
You know what feels bad?
What's that? What feels bad?
You get the first 2 Drakes, and the enemy team gets the next 4.
They just get, and then they're all the same kind, so you're stacking up the bonus. Oh,
Someone needs a Lors Dominic on IMT. For sure Raes does, because that Lee Sin and Zhao and Alistar.
So much health, man.
It's gonna, the health is there, the resistances will follow, and now you're gonna be dealing with a triple mountain dragon to follow.
Yeah, and look at Impact's inventory too. Second full item in the Zhonya's Hourglass completed allows him to just dive in completely with disregard for his own safety. And you can see the Oblivion Orb there too to cut down on some of the healing from the champions like Viego and Nocturne. As Immortals look to make a move here in the top lane, Viego's stun lands on a Jiizuke, but he's still able to just walk it off. Not really concerned here.
Yeah, a ton of HP there, and they're losing so much on the opposite side of the map. Mid lane, if it's Raes sticking underneath the turret here as the cannon minions coming through, you are going to get collapsed on. So they actually have to give up this inner mid lane turret now.
Yeah. And when we're looking at the itemization from Revenge, he went Wits in second, which can be very, very powerful in that 1v1 situation against the Akali.
Yeah.
But remember that Akali's the only magic damage. So in the middle of a team fight, if Lee and Ezreal and Xin decide to focus him, pop.
Yeah, he's gone. This game has definitely turned
spot, man.
Incredibly difficult for IMT to deal with. Their playmaking, as we said, like if they fall behind, really hard for them to really get anything back because they are not tanky in nature. And really, it's like the Orianna ulti on top of Nocturne, but Nocturne has to sacrifice himself to do that, to find a play, and let's see if they get something.
Yeah, and I mean, if Nocturne's ahead, if you're playing from ahead, then he can have a Guardian Angel or a Stopwatch or something that allows him to still get away without a real consequence. That's not the state of the game. You don't have time to go for luxury items that allow you to preserve your KDA a little bit better. They got to get everything online, but when you're looking at the inventories, I mean, you've got Svenskeren already with 2 big items plus the boots completed. Over there for Xerxe, not at the same level. The team as a whole is behind almost 10,000 gold, and that means every individual player is then behind themselves. Stridebreaker plus the pieces of Asterix, it's not enough.
Hey, and I just love this Serpent's Fang pickup from Danny. You're going up against the Orianna and the Lulu. And that shielding is just going to be there for either Xerxe or Raes, and you already have a pretty decent advantage, so you're not actually losing damage off of that. It feels like it's just a quick pickup here, and it's going to be on IMT to try and find any mistake from EG to get back in. This Mountain Dragon's not there, so 3rd Dragon now going over to EG.
Yeah.
Whenever you're in this position in the game, if you're IMT or whatever, and it just feels like you're so monstrously behind, then you got to pick and choose your battles. Where is your line of scrimmage? What wards are you placing down that you're like, okay, if they cross this line, we'll go? And it's usually around any like remnants of turrets that you have nearby. So, of course, they lost their inner turret mid lane. So they actually, that control ward that they have right next to Raptors camp in red side, that's probably not something you can defend. If the enemy team wants to take it, you're going to have to give it to them.
And the other thing that I always look at in these situations is you have to pick the play that gives you the greatest chance to win.
Yep.
But in a game state like this, you're not choosing between, oh, well, this has a 50% chance to work, but the other play has a 75% chance to work. You're choosing between like a 2 and a 5. We have a 2% chance to win if we do this, but if we do this, we have all the way up to a 5% chance to win.
There we
that
go.
Feels rotten to have to make that decision, but that's the spot that you're at when you're 10,000 gold behind in a game like this. So what I want to see is for Immortals to do exactly what you're saying. Draw that line of scrimmage and make sure you are ready to play.
That's the bush.
As they cross.
Yeah, and that's the bush that I was referencing. If you're close to your inhibitor turret, then that's the ward that you can say, okay, we can fight for this because at least there's terrain behind us and we can dip into that if things go wrong. EG recognize it and they're just playing around it. They don't need to play towards it. Like,
they can chill.
Exactly.
The map is theirs. When you're looking at the overall state of the map here, you can see there's a couple random wards from Immortals. Like you can see one here in the top side of the river. You can see one there around the back side of the Krugs. But mostly, it is just control ward city from Evil Geniuses in the Immortals jungle. Look at all these control wards here. Thank you, observers. Every single brush they're keeping an eye on. They're making sure that Immortals are uncomfortable checking the fog of war anywhere outside of their own base walls.
Yeah, and so the path from, next to the Raptors camp, it seems like something's going to happen here. Let's see if he commits.
Well, he gets the stun on Jiizuke, and the rest of the team's ready to jump in and try to help out here. Xerxe is going to be the one tanking up the damage here with a polymorph down onto Svenskeren, who tries to get himself away with a flash out now, but a nice kick comes in. Jiizuke is ready to brawl, baby, but he's going to be shut down. Viego grabbing the kill there with Svenskeren now having to tank up everybody. Immortals looking to take themselves a fight with revenge, grabbing a reset number 2. Looks for number 3, but it will not happen. They're just beating them to death with the wallet. Immortals are raced.
A triple kill for Danny, but man, Impact went wild on that one. I don't know if you remember the game, but it felt like Edge. Just straight up parkour around the enemy team as all the heat was being picked up from Jiizuke and Svenskeren. They're trying desperately to pick up those two members. The Impact was running free.
And that should be just about all they need here. Evil Geniuses. Yes, Xerxe will be back up in 5 seconds, but he can't defeat 3 geniuses at once. Ignar will zone him away while Impact and Danny put in the last little bit of work onto the Nexus turrets. Ignar just using the ulti here. There should be no issue with taking this Nexus down in time. EG, maybe there is. Maybe I'm a liar after all. Xerxe dies. Impact looking for even more here. Does not find the Shuriken onto Pretty, who finds himself able to retreat in time. Destiny and Raes continuing to chase forward, looking for the kills on anybody they can find. Chains of Corruption not hitting the mark here. Danny tries to get away even further with Revenge going in with the ulti. Ezreal looks to stand and fight, and Revenge has got to be careful now that Jiizuke is able to show up and join in. Impact hiding in the smoke cloud, but only a moment longer. Gets himself away with Revenge about to die here yet again. More damage flowing through. Jiizuke gets the Q as Raes is your next target here. Immortals thought they had a chance to fight back and go for a punish, but they're too far behind. Destiny and Pretty versus EG, and I'm putting my money on EG in this one. These two only have half a Nexus left to defend. Xerxe respawns, but in time for what? Jiizuke and Svenskeren will lead the charge. Impact and Danny sticking around right behind. They got the super minions in the base. Impact doing what he can to step away from the Dustbringer, and just like that, Evil Geniuses take down Immortals and secure their first win of summer.
You can see the smiles on their faces. It was like, all right, this one was just as hard as the previous one to actually get the Nexus down, but we're playing it patient. Great TP from Jiizuke. Much better game from Jiizuke on that Lee Sin, making work easy.
Yeah, Jiizuke had that one bad play in the mid lane where he dove underneath the tier 2 turret, got punished for that, but then the team as a whole was able to strike back. Immortals then committed a greater sin in sticking around for the Rift Herald. EG knew they could punish. Jiizuke himself immediately finds redemption by being a big part of that fight too. And honestly, this is the EG that we know their fans were wanting to see more of.
Hell yeah, you know what I saw here? That was a triple threat from Evil Geniuses. It wasn't just about Jiizuke, as you mentioned. Impact had an insane Akali carry.
Impact on carries, baby.
Give it to me.
Impact on carries. The man is not just a role player. He is not just picking a meatball and sitting there on the front line and getting shot to hell. Oh no. oh no, you give this man the Akali and let him have time to shine. Even in the matchup up against the Viego, where both of them can pop off, where you got to be on top of what you're doing, it was Impact who always had control over the lane, it was Impact who was getting things done, and Impact who properly navigated the team.
And he worked really well with Svenskeren because every single time he was stacking up waves, pushing that in, eking out an advantage over Viego, also helping Svenskeren. Look at the Crud camp. First time around, I know I got the timer, guys. Type it in the chat. Next time Svenskeren's there, and they're able to constantly pull Viego away from the lane, also pick up an extra advantage because while Crud is being contested, Zhao's got a free red buff stolen from Xerxe. I thought this was a masterclass, at least for a top lane Impact.
And like we were saying before coming into this, yeah, Immortals would have loved to continue that win streak, go 4-0 in their first 4 games. But for Evil Geniuses, especially after those first 3 games being leads that then became throws, it feels nice to just get that win and say, look, we can turn the leads into wins. There was just a couple road bumps back there in week number 1. But as long as the team can continue doing this and avoiding those mid-game pitfalls that resulted in the losses in week number 1, they can be very scary.
Yeah, the morale up in the air. It's actually just better to be in a huge advantage, at least if you're in a long season and you're starting right from the beginning. Huge advantage throwing versus, oh, we're in a huge deficit, but we're eking out victories, and I guess we got those wins, but later down the line in the rest of the season, you still have to answer for those 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's like, how do we get there?
Yes.
We're winning, but how did we get there?
Yeah. So, like, EG has all of the, everything there. The dominoes are being built up. I think the first 10 minutes of them are consistent, as you had mentioned, and as the analyst desk has talked about.
Yeah.
And they're starting to make the late game work out well for them.
Right. It's very easy to look at a VOD review from a game where you had a big lead and then there was a throw and say, oh, that's where we threw. That's what we got to make sure we're avoiding next time, as opposed to a game like you're talking about where it's a major deficit from the beginning. You're like, well, everything's on fire a little bit. Yeah. Which fire should we put out first? So Evil Geniuses, man, they got to be so happy about being able to grab this first win here. And